Welcome back. We've got a really good one for you here. Play Hard Pickleball hosted an event, and this is a 4-5 plus men's bracket. It was a very long day. Every match was tight, but these guys are ready to give us a show. We got Dan Garfinkel kicking us off with his partner Matthew Deaver, coming to Ben Campbell and Yahya Imam. Some great resets there from Matthew Deaver. A misting from Ben gets Dan and Matthew on the board, but pretty casual first point. Get it kicked off. Little more excitement for this next point. Dan sped the ball up and then was able to hit down on it for that last ball. Got him another point, so we got 2-0-2. And just deep on that return, so a quick 3 points for these guys on the start. Some nice blocks in transition here, and then that last dink just wide to Dan's forehand. He was a little off balance, just leaning for that ball, hit into the net. So Ben and Yahya have the side out. It's time to get some points. Really nice drop from Ben. Nice deal with from Dan. A nice attack of Dan's body from Ben starts this sequence that ultimately finishes with Yahya going behind Deaver down the line. So these guys have a point. We got 1-3-1. And if you haven't noticed, Ben is a lefty, so these guys will be stacking with him on the right. Just a touch long on that last ball from Ben. So you got Yahya serving 1-3-2.
1-3-2.
Missed drive up the line from Ben, so serve's going back to Matthew here. Nice speed up down the middle from Dan. He kind of hit it from beneath the net and rolled it. Great ball.
You do have nice back of your head, bro. Real nice. I know that.
Some really powerful shots from Yahya here, and a nice roll from Ben to finish it off. So it's going to be 4-1-2, Dan serving. A nice deep return and a missed drop from Dan, so we got a side out. Look at these beautiful long tennis strokes these guys have. And just a missed dink from Deaver on that last one. But yeah, not coming from tennis myself, I'm always envious to see their natural ground strokes. A beautiful thing. I'm not sure if Ben's a tennis guy too. I know the other three are, but that was a really beautiful drive and good speed up, started trouble, and Yahya was able to finish that point with a roll behind Dan.
3-4-1.
Hit that a little long, so it's going to be Ben serving 3-4-2. All right, so we've got 4-4 tied game. A heavy slice return from Dan, but Yahya was able to get it over and drop it nicely. And then that counter from Ben just went into the net. So we've got 4-4-1, Dan serving. A great play from Ben. He pulls Dan out wide, so Deaver had to cover the middle, and then Ben gets his lefty forehand in the middle and goes behind Matthew down the line. Great point construction. And a missed return for Yahya, so we've got 5-4-2 Matthew serving. A nice try from Dan, but Ben was able to just kill that ball. I think it was hard to read for Dan, and he didn't get there in time, so we got a side out. I'm not sure if he meant to do that, like to do a dramatic angle over to Ben's side of the court, or if he just misconnected with his paddle, but either way, landed on Matthew and Dan's side of the net. And just long from Yahya's drive. So he'll be serving now 5-5-2.
Sorry, 5-5-2. My fault. Sorry.
A smart attack from Matthew there. He went at Ben's body while he was on the move and earned a pop-up for Dan to put away right down the middle. A nice play from Dan. He went to the open space, which is Ben's backhand, down the line and got a pop up to finish. The ball wasn't too high for that dink, but Dan was able to really get some leverage on it and be aggressive with that ball. Ben thought that was going out. It did land well inside the line. He had his paddle right there for the taking, but just pulled away at the last second. That drive from Deaver caught Yahya on the run, kind of popped it up, and then Dan held that. And I'm not sure if he decided at the last second what he was going to do with it, but either way, that take off the bounce and a roll down the middle was a great shot and caught these two off guard. Yahya hit a nice ball, just keeping Dan back, who countered from the transition zone. I'd say I'd like to just see him reset that one. It had an upward trajectory, and the boys on the close side were able to hit down on it and end that point. Let's have another look at that point since I was talking. Some nice power from Yahya here, and then I love the short hop from Deaver. It did go high, and normally it'd be the righty forehand going probably middle or even to Dan in this case, but since it was Ben, he was able to go behind Deaver, and unless you're used to playing lefties, that's a tough ball to cover. Your autopilot pickleball game is not prepared for that shot. Nice little battle here. Everybody hit the ball, and Yahya was able to hit down on that last one, and they got the point. So 6-8. We just got to hunt the ball down here. You can see Ben kind of shaking his legs, trying to keep him warm. It's been a really long day, and these guys have really just been going nonstop. Little high for Yahya on that third, but it did not go punished. So these guys are moving 7-8.
7-8-1.
There's that ball Deaver was looking for. Way to keep the ball in play from all the guys. Ben went to get aggressive with that last one, but just went too low.
Oh, yeah, 2. 7-8-2.
So we've got a second chance to tie this game up, 7-8-2. Nice deep serve from Ben.
Yeah, baby.
Nice little flick from beneath the net up at Deaver's chest from Ben. And a lot of times, even if that ball does come back, it's going to be a pop-up. So in this case, it was a winner, and they tied the game up.
82.
Great spot from Ben. Caught Dan on the move in transition. Rolled it at his feet. Another smart play. Even if Dan gets that ball over, it's usually not in control and often another pop-up. Wow, what a point. Dan and Deaver ended up in an I formation here, and Ben looked for that open court, just pushed it wide. Got a side out. All right, these guys have tied it up 9-9-1.
991.
Oh boy, and a missed backhand flick puts Dan and Matthew on the hill. They just need 1 point to win the game. A great backhand finish from Yahya. I'm sure he'll like this instant replay a little bit better. So a second server, it's going to be 10-9-2. Great placement from Ben on that overhead. He just calmly went right to Deaver's outside foot and just out of reach. So they earned a side out, and we've got 9-10-1. We'll see if these guys can get to 10 and force the issue. Little high on that third. Deaver stepped in and went right down the middle, deep to the baseline. Even with two forehands in the middle, that's a tough ball to deal with for either guy. And a misdrive from Ben gets the quick side out for Dan and Deaver. Let's see if these guys can get a point and finish it up. He was on it. I think Dan just framed that one. So we got a second server.
Yeah, it would good. Right. 292. Yeah.
Nice inside out from Yahya, and then that last ball went low to Dan's backhand. He popped it up, and Yahya was able to finish the point. So these guys have the serve back. We got Ben doing the robot on this side. Yahya is going to serve.
981. Is it raining? 910-1.
Nice drive down the line, kind of toward Dan's right shoulder, and Dan was just a bit late on that ball and shanked it. So these boys tied it up 10-10, so we're going into overtime.
10-1.
Yeah, looking for that spot again down the line and just missed it. Ben shot that rolling drive at Dan in the transition zone again, and with Dan's counter, a hands battle ensued. Ben just had great ball control in that battle, and they got the point. So we've got game point for Ben and Yahya. Some nice low shots. Dan pulled the trigger on that last one. And that does it for game one. So stay tuned for game two, and dare I say, there may be a game three.